vacations are supposed to be fun, right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay, so we're gonna do our first family vacation on the East Coast. We're doing 4 days in,
Washington, D.C.
and yeah, we're excited to be this close. It's about 4.5 to 5 hours. It's time to get on the road.
Here we go. We're winging it.
The drive is supposed to take about 4.5 hours from where we live in North Carolina. Due to a variety of bathroom and food stops, though, it took us about 7. The first view of DC made it all worth it. The Washington Monument! Our first day, we wanted to start with the monuments and memorials. This was honestly what I was most excited to share with our kids. We started at the Jefferson Memorial, then walked to the FDR Memorial,
Following that, we went to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, the Korean War Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, which unfortunately was under construction. We marveled at the vastness of it and walked along the reflecting pool. And lastly, we went to the World War II Memorial. My favorite memorial of the day was the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, as it was just an incredibly moving experience for us.
My favorite was the view of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, as you can see the reflection of the Washington Monument and even see the Capitol building in the distance.
Okay, so right now we're waiting for my dad to bring the car over here, and he's gonna pick us up, and I think we're gonna go to our house.
Well, we made it to our condo. It's about 20 minutes outside of downtown Washington, D.C. And we decided to go with an Airbnb just because we like the comfort of a home, being able to cook some meals, which saves some money. For example, we got our 3 breakfasts and our 3 dinner plans for our stay here, and it was $89. And I can't imagine that we could do it that cheap with a family of 5. We went to Trader Joe's. Shout out to Trader Joe's. Tonight we're doing just some easy pasta things because you just dump it out of a bag and it's tasty and yummy. We've got some gnocchi and we've got some pesto pasta. Get some dinner in our bellies and settle in and hopefully get some good rest so we can have some fun tomorrow.
Our first stop was the Washington Monument, and it's not easy to see, but back there right now is just so gorgeous. Looking at the Lincoln Memorial over the water with the morning light. It's in the 70s right now. It is so beautiful. And we're gonna see if it's possible to get in line for tickets to go to the top. But we'll find out. While Kristen waited in line for the Washington Monument tickets, I took the kids over to see
The White House.
Honestly, the White House seems kind of small and unimpressive when you compare it to the many buildings around the city.
And we got in line at 8:35. We were a pretty good ways back, and I waited probably 45 minutes and we didn't score the tickets, but it was worth a shot. I think otherwise you need to be looking like 30 days out, and we were kind of last minute on our timing for this trip, on our planning, and so it didn't work out, but it was still an awesome place to visit, but we sure would have loved to have gotten to the top. Next, we headed to go to the Capitol.
Sometimes being a little more spontaneous is good. Sometimes you find out, hey, you can't get into the Capitol building without a tour that is scheduled ahead of time. So far Brooklyn is not stoked about that, but we are going to pivot and go to the National Art Museum before we need to get over at 11:30 to the archives or some sort of library. I don't remember. Let's do it.
The National Art Museum was our first official museum we stepped into. The side we went on was beautiful and wide open. It was a good respite from the hot DC heat.
The Library of Congress was by far the most ornate building we visited. There were some interesting exhibits, but the most impressive part was just looking up at the ceilings.
It was time to get lunch, so we headed over to Union Station. Sometimes you just need some chicken tenders and sweet tea, so we headed to Raising Cane's.
Right now we're in the hallway of Union Station. In one of the hallways, eating our lunch. We're gonna go look at some shops, maybe get some stuff for those of us who have money, and yeah.
After lunch, we headed to the museum we were most excited about, the Natural History Museum. There was so much to see and explore. This unfortunately led to Kristen and I being split up following our kids to different places for the majority of the time.
After a quick trip home to the Airbnb for dinner, we took the kids down to the wharf for a treat and to see DC at night. Parking was rough, but we still had a great time. What excited us most about going to the National Archives was the ability to see the Declaration of Independence.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
We had just recently introduced the kids to the movie National Treasure, and I think we were secretly hoping to find a treasure map as well.
Next, we went to the art museum. This was by far the most difficult place to be with a 3-year-old, but we tried to take the time to enjoy it. There was so much beautiful art to explore. Brooklyn was on a mission to find a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. After a while, we found it. Being able to see such a wide variety of art styles in one location was really special. So we could have gone to a restaurant or something and you guys chose what?
The cafeteria.
Over here is the Capitol, and if you spin around, here's the Washington Monument. Also beautiful, beautiful.
Quick spin back around.
I'm still here. After lunch, we went to explore the United States Botanical Garden. As a plant lover, this was a really special place for me to explore.
Ezekiel's asleep in the stroller. I was just trying to get out of the botanical gardens, and I don't know what it is about that place, but I swear it was a labyrinth, and it was such tight paths that you couldn't pass anyone. Thought I was finally at the exit, and I wasn't. I finally made it out of there, but it was kind of a beautiful, sweaty box of flowers.
Our last stop of the day was the Air and Space Museum. We had to go during a scheduled time to visit. While it was cool, we were definitely feeling exhausted by the end of day 3.
Our last morning was supposed to be a family tour of the Capitol building. I dropped off Kristen and the kids because we were running late. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any parking, which meant Kristen had to solo parent and do the tour alone, while I went out on my own excursion.
I took the 3 kids alone in the Capitol building, and unfortunately, Ezekiel just wasn't having it. He wanted to leave, but we couldn't leave the tour. While it was beautiful and amazing to see the Capitol, it was the hardest part of the trip for sure. As we reflect on our trip, we're trying to remember the little things, the little joys, the exploration, the expanding of the world for our kids, and trying to overlook some of the many challenges that came along the way. While this felt more like a trip than a vacation, it definitely left us with some lifelong memories of adventure.